We are back with another edition of Sundays with Serby, and this week, New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby spoke with someone who's fairly new to the Big Apple sports scene, the first-year head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, Jordi Fernandez. And now, I've got some questions for someone who I would say is a grizzled veteran when it comes to the New York sports scene. That's the one and only Steve Serby, and he joins me now. Steve, what's going on?
Yeah, grizzled's a good word. Definitely, I'm definitely grizzled.
Grizzled veteran. See, you got to go with grizzled veteran. You can't be out here calling people old. You got to respect the work they've put into the game. So that's why I go with grizzled veteran. I'm glad you approve, sir. I'm glad you approve.
I'll never consider myself old.
There you go. There you go. Young state of mind always. Like, just don't act young, but young state of mind. There you go. Steve, I'm sure in your career, where you're a grizzled veteran, you have interviewed many first-year head coaches. Jordi Fernandez, in your Q&A with him, he shared a vivid picture of his long-term vision for the Brooklyn Nets, including sustaining success and building a winning culture. How does his vision compare to other first-year head coaches that you've interviewed, and what makes his approach unique?
Well, in some ways, it's very much not unique because let me just, it's funny you mentioned all the first-year head coaches that I've covered over the years. I've covered 13 New York Jets first-year head coaches and 8 New York Giants first-year head coaches. And Walt Michaels was the first back in 1977. He didn't have to worry about Joe Namath because Joe Namath was already in L.A. And Ray Handley was the first Giants first-year head coach. The poor guy inherited a Super Bowl team from Bill Parcells and ran it into the ground. But all of their messages are the same in this regard. Team first, this is what Jordi Fernandez wants out of his Nets. Team first approach, mental toughness. Now, every coach wants a mentally tough team and as a physically tough team, of course, and skilled. You've got to have skills to play whatever sport, whatever position you try. But he doesn't have too many rules. I asked him about that, and he said, well, if you have too many rules, it'll be watered down and it'll go in one ear and out the other. But his message, be on time, have positive energy, and be the best leader you can be. And get 1% better every day. I've heard that from coaches in all sports, especially first-year coaches. 1% better every day. Embrace your role on the team and build relationships. Now, if you're able to do that and you build that kind of culture, you will have a winning culture where you can be competitive, be selfless, and be connected. And Jordi right now seems to be very well respected by his team. It's a young team. They need guidance. They need him to communicate, they need him to collaborate, and they need him to organize. And he seems to be a fearless leader who has gained the respect of his young team. Very important. I think it looks like it's going to be a good hire for Sean Marks and the Nets.
Yeah, it's been a good one so far. He has the team playing very hard. They're ahead of where many people thought they would be this season, already reaching double-digit wins when a lot of people thought they'd be tanking, but the Nets have played very hard this season. Now, in your Q&A, Fernandez, he spoke about focusing on the Nets' growth rather than comparing themselves to the Knicks, as they often can be in this town. How did he convey the balance between fostering a team identity and the potential for a future rivalry with the Knicks? Because I'm sure they want to get to the Knicks level where they are in terms of trying to compete for a championship. But how does he balance those two things?
Well, he would love nothing better than to have a quality Nets team that is every bit as good as the Knicks for that kind of rivalry that will play for big stakes. But he recognizes that it doesn't pay. It's no way now should he even think about the Knicks or his team think about the Knicks. They've got to worry about themselves right now. Adversity. He talks about adversity being part of the journey, and how a team responds to that adversity will be key to sustaining any kind of success. And he knows, look, this guy is not afraid of the big stage. He's not afraid of the big games, the big moments. He's coached in the Olympics, Team Nigeria. He won a bronze medal for Team Canada against Team USA in the World Cup. He's very proud of that. So he gets it. He gets it. He loves what he does. Very passionate about the game of basketball, and says when he stops loving what he does, he's going to go back to the Barcelona area and lay on a beach and enjoy his time that way. But yeah, he'd love. Wouldn't it be nice in this town to have a Knicks-Nets rivalry? And Jordi Fernandez says, yeah, that would be great, but we'd love to beat them by 40. That's better than beating them by 20. But that's a long way down the road. And as long as you have respect for your opponent, shake hands when the game is over. He's all about that. And we saw on Friday night how disrespectful he thought Ja Morant was on Friday night. And he says, I'll never talk to an opposing player. And he doesn't want opposing players to talk to him. So he's big on respect. And so far, he's commanded respect in that locker room and on that team. And he looks to be a good fit for the Nets.
Yeah, he does. A lot of people around the Nets feel that way that I've spoken to. They think he's an extremely good fit, and he's gotten good results with his players thus far.
He's very, very comfortable in his own skin. He hasn't always been that way, but you can tell he's very secure about himself. He's overcome insecurities, as we all have, except for myself. And he's the real deal. He's the real deal.
All right, we will see how he does going forward. If you're interested in Jordi Fernandez, what he had to say, it's a really good one. I think you should check out Steve Serby's Q&A with the first-year Nets head coach up right now on nypost.com. Steve, another good one. Continue to be the great grizzled veteran that you are, and we will talk next week.
Thank you, Dex. Always a pleasure.